Hello, today we're going to be talking about lattice multiplication. And we're going to start with our math message. Let's think about missing digits here in this problem. Now, if you recall what lattice multiplication is, you should be able to figure this out. If you're not familiar with lattice multiplication, then it might look like some kind of math puzzle. But basically what we're looking at here is a problem that is taking 673 times 4. So if we look a little farther here, we've also got a problem 61 times 5. And I know it's difficult to see my question marks because it was hard to fit them in that tiny little box. But if we look at the problem, we've got 3 times 4 in the first one, or 4 times 3. That's where the 12 comes from. And we have 4 times 7, which is where the 28 comes from. So what would fit in that last box for 4 times 6, where those two question marks are located? If you said 24, that would be correct. And then we add along the diagonals. So in my first diagonal, I have just the number 2. So that equals 2. And then I have 8 plus 1 in the second diagonal, which gives me 9. And then I have my 4 plus my 2, which gives me 6. And I have my 2 at the end. So my answer becomes 2,692. So 673 times 4 is equal to 2,692. If we take a look at the second problem where we have 61 times 5, we have 5 times 1 in that first box, which equals 5. And I want you to notice how I laid the numbers out, because 5 would be in the ones column and 0 would be in the tens, so that's how we would write that. So what would 5 times 6 give us for those two question marks there? If you said 30, that's correct. And then what we do is we add along the diagonals. So 5 plus nothing is going to give me 5, and 0 plus 0 is going to give me 0, and 3 plus nothing is going to give me 3. So 61 times 5 equals 305. So this lesson, we are going to be reviewing lattice multiplication. Some of you may have had it last year. That's why we're saying we're going to review it, of course. But for those of you that are new to our corporation and have not done lattice, this will be a new method for you to learn multiplication. We're going to write down vocabulary today, and the one thing that we're going to write down is the word lattice. And lattice is basically a method of multiplying numbers using a grid. So if we were going to do the problem 45 times 3, we would write the numbers like this. We would put the 45 on the top and the 3 on the side. And then we have one box for each number that we are multiplying on top. And then what we do is we draw lines, and I say corner to corner and out the door, and hopefully that makes sense. You take the corner of the first box and travel diagonally to the next corner and then out the box. We do the same thing on the other side. And that sets up our grid that we're going to use to multiply. And then basically we start on the right side with the 3, and we're going to multiply 3 times 5. And then that's going to give us 15. So we write the numbers in the box like so. Then we're going to take that 3 times 4, and we're going to get 12. And we're going to write that in the box like so. And then if you recall from Math Message, now we're going to add on the diagonals, and we're going to start with the 5, and we don't have anything to add to that, so it's going to be 5. Then we have our 1 plus our 2, which gives us 3, and then we have our 1 plus nothing, which gives us 1. So our answer for 45 times 3 is 135. Let's take a look at this one. We have 7 times 89. We're going to set it up the same way. I'm going to write my 2-digit number on the top, put my 1 digit on the right side, put my 2 boxes, draw my diagonal lines, and now I can begin multiplying. 7 times 9 gives me 63. 7 times 8 gives me 56. And then I'm going to add on the diagonals. So 3 plus nothing gives me 3. 6 plus 6 is going to give me 12. And notice how I regrouped there. So now I have 1 plus 5 gives me 6. So 89 times 7 gives me 623, or 7 times 89, which was the original problem. Okay, we can also do 2-digit times 2-digit using the same method. So let's say that I have 26 times 34, or 34 times 26, whichever way you want to write it. This setup we do 4 boxes because we've got 2 numbers on the top and 2 numbers on the side. We're going to draw our diagonals just like we did before, and notice there's more of them this time. And then we're just going to start with the number 3, and we're going to pretend that 4 isn't there to start with, and we're going to do just like we did with the other problems. We're going to do 3 times 6, which gives us 18. Then we're going to do 3 times 2, which gives us 6. Now we're going to jump down to that 4, and we've got to do 4 times 6, which gives us 24, and 4 times 2, which gives us 8. We're going to add along the diagonals just like we did before. So 4 plus nothing is going to give me 4. I have 8 plus 2 plus 8 is going to give me 18. And notice how I regrouped in the next diagonal. I have 1 plus 1 plus 6. That's going to give me 8. And in my last diagonal, I have 0. So 26 times 34 is going to give me 884. Okay, it's the same method, we're just multiplying more numbers. Okay, to summarize, we reviewed lattice multiplication today, and for those of you that had not seen it before, then you learned lattice multiplication. We saw we can use this method with a 2 times a 1-digit problem and a 2 times a 2-digit problem. And we also learned that we need to add along the diagonals once we do all of our multiplication. If you have questions, make sure you bring them to class. And again, this is one of those things that you will practice several problems in class, and you'll get the hang of it if it's new for you. Those of you that it is a review, you'll start to recall how you did that last year and also get better practice at that. So, thank you for watching.